video, we're going to show how to put some 10-inch handlebars on a 2015 Street Glide. Specifically, these are the Paul Yaffe monkey bars, and I want a 10-inch this time instead of 12. On the 14 and 15-year models of Street Glides, you can actually go up to 12-inch bars because Harley extended the wiring harnesses and the brake and clutch hydraulic lines, so that you don't have to take those off and extend them like you did on 13 and earlier models. I already pulled the bags off. We got to pull the, we're going to take the battery leads off. We don't want any shorts to occur. Okay, in order to get the ECM module off the battery, we got to get this one line off, so we disconnect it. Come underneath, there's a tab under there. Just take a long flathead screwdriver, pull it down, and it'll slide off. There you go. Have the little clip that holds it into place. Then you can get your ECM module off and get to your battery leads. I just put a towel down there, cover up the battery as I take them off to prevent shorts, anything just inadvertently touching the battery. Okay, now we're going to take the windshield off and the outer fairing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by taking the two outer bolts off. I'll loosen this one. That way the windshield will come out. And then when we take the bolts off the lower part of the fairing, the fairing won't fall off. Okay, now we're going to take this one out, just enough to get the windshield off, and we're going to leave it in, because that'll hold the outer fairing on. Okay, we got two bolts here on the for the outer fairing. We got them on both sides, so we're going to remove those. Okay, when you take them out, you'll notice they're different lengths. The short one comes out of the bottom, the longer one comes out of the top. So you just need to remember to put those back in the right spot when you're putting it back together. Okay, now we're going to take that last bolt off up here. That will allow us to take the outer fairing off. Obviously, you got to disconnect your headlights. There's some little tabs here. So you just push the tabs and disconnect them. They'll pull right off, and there's your outer fairing. Okay, we're going to take the, we're not going to take the ignition off, we're just going to take the control cover off from around it. There's a bolt on each side for that. There's some little catches under here, so we're going to tip it forward, bring it out. Then, down in here there's a couple wiring harnesses. They're for your auxiliary things that you can add to the bike later. You need to pull those wires off. It's impossible to actually get it on video. There's a clip under there. That will allow you to pull each one off like that. Turn the ignition and the handlebars and pull the cover off. I'm going to take these two bolts off on both sides. Okay, and we're going to take the top one off of both blinkers, and we can pull the blinker off. Okay, so there's some quick disconnect. It's not real easy, but it is there. Got to kind of get your finger in this little groove down here at the bottom and pull out. You can take your your blinker off. Got to take some zip ties off. You get the wires off, so we're going to go down the handlebars, follow them down, just cut every one you see, go all the way down underneath there on both sides. There's one right up here. That holds your brake line. There's one way up under here on both sides. It's for your brake line and your hydraulic clutch cable. Those are kind of hard to get to. You have to take those off because that's going to give you the ability to reposition this, see? And that gives you your length so that you don't have to change your brake line and hydraulic clutch cable. There's one on the other side too. All right, now we're going to start disassembling some of our controls. We're going to get our grips off. We're not going to take it off completely yet. but go ahead and start taking some of the pieces apart. All right, so once you get the top and the bottom bolts off, you can pull your housing off. There we go. And you can just let that carefully hang. Okay, we gotta get the trip switch off in order to get this outer housing off. So you can lift up on it a little bit, and way up under here, get a flathead screwdriver, real thin one. There's a catch, and you just put the screwdriver in that catch. I don't know if you can see it. You turn, kind of twist the screwdriver, and then it just slides off. And now you can kind of see the little catch right there. And that's what snaps into that you're pushing up on to get it over that little catch. Okay, now we can, after we take that trip switch off, you can just pull the case off. Now we gotta get the control housing off. There's actually a snap. I'm using like a little pick. And you gotta get it underneath that snap. It'll snap off, and you can just pull it off like that. Okay, so now that we got the controller off, kind of tug on it a little bit. You'll see which wire it is. It comes through. There's a little clip right here in the front. If you push down on it, you just unplug it. And that's your wires for the left side of your handlebar that we're going to have to feed through the bars. There you go. That's what we're going to feed through the new handlebars. Okay, now we're going to take the brake master cylinder off. Basically the same process as the hydraulic clutch master cylinder. Take it off, let it hang. We're going to take the cover off and the grip. Okay, and then same thing like the other side, we've got a little clip here. To get something in there, just pop it open, and it just opens up. So if you don't know where they are, you can wiggle it, kind of pull it back and forth. And it's these two right here. We do the same thing. Push down on that button on both of them and pull it out. Okay, and there's your right side control wires that will feed through the new handlebars. Okay, now we're going to take the interfering off. Or actually not going to take it off, we're going to lean it forward so that we can get to the bolts that hold the handlebars on. That will also allow us to follow the throttle by wire, because you can't get to it where it comes out of the handlebars, and disconnect it. So we're going to take these bolts off here on both sides first. Okay, once you get two bottom ones off, you can take the front and the cell off. You're going to have to do that to be able to remove the interfering. Okay, now we're going to get the interfering off. So you're going to lift up on it and tip it back. By lifting up, what it does, it kind of releases it from the bottom portion of the forks, and it allows you to get to the bolts. You don't actually have to take it off. You can just let it hang in that position. Now we can get to our handlebar bolts, and then we can find where our throttle by wire comes out, which is right there. And you can see how long it is. And we'll disconnect that from inside the fairing. Okay, so this is where your throttle by wire connects into, or your twist grip sensor. So we're going to just get the connector off first. All right, so pull your wire out, push real hard on that button, and pull, and it'll come right out. Okay, next we're going to take the 4 bolts off, hold the handlebar. I like the new 2015s because they use a Allen wrench instead of those Torx. So you're going to want to get somebody to help you with this, because once you break these loose, those handlebars will fall, and you want somebody holding them for you so that they don't fall down and scratch your tank or something to that effect. Okay, there you go, and carefully, you got to route your twist grip sensor out with it so you don't rip it. There you go. What we're going to do is, while we got the handlebars off, we're going to go ahead and replace the riser bushings, the stock riser bushings. We're going to put some polyurethane bushings in there instead. Ape hangers have a tendency, they're going to have more leverage, and it'll blow those out in time. The higher the bars, the faster these things blow out. If you check out some people's bikes that they let you'll find that the tar of the apes, a lot of times the apes will just move back and forth real bad. That's because they never replaced the stock rubber riser bushings with like polyurethane ones that won't wear on you. So first thing we got to do though is we need to put our plate back on to hold our risers in place so they don't spin on us when we take the bolts out. So we're just going to put the bolts all back in. We're going to tighten them down. This will ensure that your risers stay in the same position so that they don't twist on you when you take those bolts off. Okay, now what you got to do is you got to get your fairing back on. So you just lift it up, set it back down into place. Then you can turn your forks, and that will allow you access up to your riser bolts. Okay, so then we're going to take the riser bushing bolt off. It's underneath. I've already loosened it just with a hand ratchet. Now I'm going to put an impact on it. Just makes it easier to get off. And it'll slide right out. And do the other side the same way.
When?
Okay, so get that part and pull the fairing back off. Now we can get to our bushings. Just be careful with the risers because there's a ground wire attached to it. You don't have to do anything with it really, just set it out of the way. That's going to allow you to get to your bushings inside of here. And you'll need a screwdriver and a hammer. I'll show you why. Okay, so there's a metal piece in there. Just going to knock that out. Yeah. And make sure you have your fender covered. I do. Then you can pull them out at that point. You have to turn your handlebars to get that last one out on the other side again. Okay, so here's the ones that came out. They're rubber. Here's the new polyurethane ones. They don't have near as much give, and they'll last a lot longer, so they won't break out on us where we have to go back in and do this at a later date. Okay, so you got to kind of force it in there a little bit. Just turn it, work with it. It'll drop in when you get just in the right spot. Finish tapping in with a rubber hammer. Do the same on this one here. And then we'll come up from the bottom and we'll do the same thing with the bottom. Okay, so I got it up in there. Okay, so now we got to pull the fairing back off. You're gonna be doing this a lot, pulling the fairing off, putting it back on to get to these bolts. Okay, we do need some red thread lock. And come up under here and get it snugged on. We'll snug it on both sides before we tighten it up. Okay, just something to mention is when these bolts come out, you're gonna have that cap on. That's for the old bushings, so you won't use that. You'll just take it off because the cap is on the polyurethane one. So you'll just put the bolt in like that. Okay, so then we'll take the fairing back off again so that we can get the mounting plate off in preparation for the new handlebars. And that's how you replace the risers on a 2015 Street Glide. Riser bushings.
Go.
Okay, so we got to string the handlebars to be able to pull the wires through. So I'm just using some twine. I put some nuts on it. Fishing weight's real good too. It doesn't really matter what you use. Just trying to get it through the bars. That way we'll have a pull string. I gotta get a pick to get that out. Okay, so then we're just reach in there, pull it out, get both sides, and there's your pull string. And we do the other side the same way. Okay, so one of the things is we ran the cable through or the wire through here, but the control cables actually go through this hole on the bottom. So we're gonna take our little pick again, and we're going to pull the wire or the pull string out through here, and that's actually where we're going to pull our cables through. Okay, so we're going to pull through. We're We're going to try it without grease first because there isn't a lot of wire. This is going to be your problem here, is this the connector getting it around this corner. But we're going to try it anyway. So if we push and pull at the same time, it does make it a lot easier. To get these wires through. Okay, so we got it through. Then we can try to position this, and then we can snap it back on for now. It may not be in the right spot. It doesn't matter because we're going to have to adjust it anyway because we still got to get the master cylinder back on, all the covers. But that'll at least just hold it in place. And then you can see underneath how the wire goes into the handlebar. So your wires will be hidden now. Okay, so with the throttle by wire, we are going to have to take the pins out because obviously that's not going to fit through the handlebars. So one of the first things we're going to have to do in order to even get the pins out is this cable harness. We're going to have to cut it back a little bit so that we can get some wire to get this back off. So be real careful when you do this. You obviously don't want to cut your wires. So we're just going to carefully cut it back. Like that. The reason we're doing that is then you can take a pick, you can stick it in there, and it'll pop that back out, and that allows you to slide this off so that you can begin to get to all the internal part, which there is a rubber piece, which is like a moisture seal. It's got to come out. And then we can get to our pins. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw a diagram. I'm going to use like the top where the part ID number is. I'll just call that top. And I'll coming in from the back. I'm gonna do. There's gray. I'm just gonna write the colors down. There's purple from left to right, and then red. And then looking down, then the bottom ones from underneath, I've got black, and I've got blue, and I've got brown. That way I can put them back in the same way they came out with my little diagram. Okay, so next we'll take this this white piece off. I don't know what it's called. Just get a pick in through the top. It'll kind of pull out. Then you can get your pick into the sides. And there's some little catches here on the side. Just kind of work it out real carefully. And then there's your pins. Okay, so if you get your pick in there and you go underneath the pin, there's a plastic thing, and you push down on it, and that allows you to pull the wire out the back while you're pushing down. You don't have to push very hard. It's just a snap that holds the wire into place, and do that for all 6. And then you can take the little water seal, moisture seal off. Just pull them through. And the same thing here. Now they'll only get out through here one way. There's a notch inside of the retainer that you have to turn. There's a notch, if you look real close there, that matches up to the notch in there, which allows you to pull the wire out, and then it'll just slide right out without any effort at all. So you may have to turn them, but that prevents the wires from backing out on you. Okay, now we gotta get the twist grip sensor out. We went through all that because we couldn't get the connector through the handlebars, and of course you can't get it through the new ones. So now we can get our twist grip sensor out. You don't want to pull too hard on this, just enough to be able to pull it through. There you go. Okay, so we got all the wires through. I did have to use some grease. So you just put it in the hole and got to kind of move it back and forth until you get the twist grip sensor in. You don't want to pull too hard on the twist grip sensor because you don't want to affect the cables coming out of it. But now we just got to get all the tape off, and then we have to rebuild our twist grip sensor connector. Okay, so now that we got all the wiring done, we gotta build our twist grip sensor connector again. So with our diagram from the top, which is, I use the model number, the part number as the top. We go gray, purple, red, black, blue, brown. So we need to put the wire holder in first, and we do it in that order. So this, then the moisture thing, and then it'll go into the connector. So they can only go in one way. There's a notch. You just slide it through there. So gray, purple, red. There's purple. There's red. Then we can come looking from the bottom up is how I did it. You can really do it however you want, whatever makes sense to you. I got black, blue, and brown. Okay, now in keeping with the order of the colors, gray, purple, red. And you just got to kind of shove them through there to that piece of rubber. There we go. All right. Okay, so take the white deal out. Then we're going to go, there's our top. We're going to go the gray, there's a notch. There's a tab here, and there's a notch in the connector that it keeps it in place and guides it. And slide it in until it snaps, and you'll actually feel it and hear it snap. There's what you look like at the end. Now if you pull backwards on them, on the wires, that'll seat them into place. And you can put your white part back in. And there's your connectors made. And then we'll slide this back. It can only go one way. There's a tab with an indentation. And there you go. Your connector's built back up. We're going to pull this back, and since we had to cut it, and then we'll put a little bit of electrical tape around there to hold it shut. And then this, of course, for your heated grips if you need it later down the road. I'm taking some rubbing alcohol. I'm wiping the bars down real good because any of the grease that came through when we pulled that one side through with the twist grip sensor, I don't want it on the bars to slip or cause any kind of slipping issues once we tighten it down. Okay, we're going to go ahead and wipe this with alcohol. Okay, now we're going to put the bars on. You'll need some help. One first thing to do is we're going to take the twist grip sensor, we're going to push it down in there because that's kind of where it came from. These wires are pretty short, so we're going to show you how to hook those up here afterwards. So you're just going to want to get them out for now. And if your bars fit correctly, there's not going to be any play back and forth. I mean, no more than 1/8 of an inch. So it does make it a little easier to work with. So get somebody to hold them for you. Margaret's doing a great job there. Your top cap on. I did put a little bit of blue thread lock on these. Don't tighten them all the way or all 4 bolts may not go on. Just get them all started. So there we go, they're finger tight, but I still have enough where I can move them back and forth a little bit if I need to. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the seat on, and we're going to put the fairing on, and adjust the handlebars to a comfort level. There we go. All right, fairing's on. That's the position of the fairing. Now we can get on the bike and see where we think we might like the bars by moving them. Okay, so I got them adjusted where I hope where I want them. When you get them snug, start working the star pattern or an X pattern until you get them tight. Okay, so what I did is, in order to do this without extending the wires, there's a plate up here. It's like a wiring center, and there's a couple bolts that hold it on. I just took it out, and we're going to take our connectors out of it, and we're actually going to push them back up into the fairing and out towards the handlebars so that we can put our wires, hook our wires back. Okay, so in order to get the clips off, you come in here with a screwdriver right towards the back, kind of pry it on both sides like that, and you could slide it out. And there's your wire. And just do that with all 3 of these. Okay. Now, here's why you can do this, because there's a zip tie right here, and when you cut this zip tie, I don't want to cut the wires for the video camera. Cut that zip tie off, and we'll tie these back up. Now you've got all this wire that you can push back towards the front or towards the handlebars of the bike, and that's where you're going to be able to plug them in and not have to cut and extend your wires. Basically, I'm just cutting the zip ties so I can get the wire links. I already redid that one. I had to disconnect the FM antenna, AM FM antenna. Got them all zip tied back down. All we did was take the wiring bundles we needed out, and then we're going to push them towards the handlebars up inside of the fairing, and then we'll have to pull the fairing back off in order to pull them through and connect them. Okay, let's pull our fairing back up and over, and then somewhere in here we should see our wires. Like right there they are. There's 2 of them, and here's the side right here, so that we can begin our connecting of the wires. There you go. That's one side. This is your single wire. This one here is a little snug. It'll be okay though, because once we put that harness plate back onto the bike, it's going to give us some slack up here. We still got to do the twist grip sensor, but we're going to put the plate back together first. Okay, so once you put that plate back on with your electrical, now we're going to come in. This is your twist grip sensor, so need to plug that back in. And then it slides back onto this little clip. Okay, we're going to put our front nacelle back on. Can be difficult because you've got 3 layers of components to go through. You've got the inner fairing, you've got the frame of the fairing, and you have the nacelle. And you got to get this through all 3 layers into the fork. So you might have to work it around and move them to get those bolts in. Okay.
Oh, wait, it's not. Go ahead.
Okay. Then we're going to put the upper one on. Make sure also before you do that your turn signal wires is sticking out. It'll make it a lot easier to hook those up when you're ready. Okay, once you get them in by hand, you can come back in and tighten them up. I'll just show you this side, then you just repeat on the other side. Plug your turn signal in and push it back down into the fairing. You can actually see it on the other side, so you can grab it if you need to. And I just kind of grab back here in the back and I wiggle the cable, and that way you can make sure that you're not pinching it if it moves real freely. If it doesn't move freely in here, then you'll want to take this back off, because you might be pinching the wires. Okay, now we're going to put our hydraulic clutch back on. Now you might have a little problem with this, where you might have to loosen the banjo a little bit to twist that cable or that hydraulic line in order to make it ride correctly along the handlebars, which I'm going to have to do. So if you break it, that seal just barely, just enough to move it, you won't have to bleed your hydraulic clutch. Okay, so first we're going to tighten this. We're going to tighten the master cylinder there so that we can loosen the banjo bolt. We're just going to barely loosen it. There we go. Just enough to turn to be able to rotate it. So that our clutch, hydraulic clutch, will sit properly. And it'll give us a little bit of room to move it. And then we tighten it back up. All we did was loosen it just enough to move it, but we didn't allow any air. And we know that for a fact because there is no fluid in there either coming out. So at that point, now our hydraulic clutch master cylinder is in a good place. So now we also have a little bit more room if we want to move it back and forth, whereas it was shooting into the speaker before. Okay, now we're going to put the brake master cylinder on. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to get it on there first. And we'll kind of tighten it, and then we'll have to break the compression fittings just enough to move it without introducing air into the line. You can see how the cable curves pretty drastically. So we're going to just loosen this enough. You got to be real careful. You don't want to break it too much. Just enough to be able to turn it. There you go. And we still have brake. Okay, so once you get those adjusted and tightened, make sure that you have full range of motion all the way to lock position. You should. If you feel anything grabbing, stop and figure out why. Okay, so once you get it where you want it and you know that your line is good, you're going to have to take it loose again, because now we got to put the covers on the backs of both of these, and the controls, your hydraulic clutch has to push a button that goes through here. Okay, so when you get ready to put your rear housing on and your grip, there's actually a little notch in here, and the grip is notched as well. So if you look at it real close, you'll see the space back there, and if you turn it, see how it kind of fell into place there? So if you try to put it on like that, it's not going to go on. You've got to get it in that notch, otherwise the top of your housing won't close properly. Okay, so we're just going to kind of do this all at one time. It's not real easy. It's not user friendly, I guess you could say. So you get it on there, kind of rotate your grip until you feel it grab into that notch that I showed you in the previous clip. Then we can come in with our front portion and hold it on and you can rotate your grip until you start closing the gap equally between the top and the bottom. Okay, so once you're ready, leave it loose. Reattach your hydraulic clutch. It's going to push into a button in the back. And before you tighten everything up, you've got to kind of do this, tighten everything together, because you've got play here, you've got play there, and you got play this way. So you're going to want to make sure that you leave everything kind of loose until you get everything into position where you want it for your final tightening for each side. And as you tighten it, you can watch and see your space close, and you'll know that you've got it on correctly. There you go. Now we do the brake side. Okay, now that we got it on there, we're going to take it and we're going to move it in all the way as far as it'll go. Just our height. And then we can tighten it up. Okay, once you get it on, make sure your twist grip sensor returns the way it's supposed to. Okay, now we got to put our trip switch back on, or the cover. Just slide it on, it'll snap. There you go, back in place. Now we got to put our auxiliary cover back on, and once again, you got to just kind of work it around. It'll go. There we go. And when you get it up there, be sure and plug the cables back into it. And there's little ears there will kind of go up underneath. You can fold it back up in there, and we'll put our screws in next to hold it on. Okay, and then we're going to put it in there. It should sit pretty natural without any effort to force it to put it on. If you got to force it, you've got something in the way. And before you tighten it, do the other side. So this one went in real easy as well, so I'm just going to tighten it up now. Now go to the other side and tighten it. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the seat again. We're going to hook our battery back up. So I put the battery leads back on. Now we're going to put the ECM module back in. Snap this back together. It's got this little clip. Snap it on there. It's back in place like it's supposed to be, and we'll put our 2 bolts in. Okay, so we're going to turn everything on. Put it in neutral, and we're going to go ahead and let it start. Oops, headlights are on, eyes. Stereo is going to come on. All right, so we know all our electrical works except for the headlight because it wasn't plugged in. So at this point, we can go ahead and put the seat back on, put the outer fairing back on, and the windshield. So we'll do that next. Okay, now we got to get our headlights back on. They can only go one way. There's actually notches inside of here that you put it on with. They just snap on. Make sure your little clips snap well. All right. We're going to hold it into place to make sure that we're sealed all the way around. There's one bolt that's different from the rest for this outer fairing, and it goes in the middle at the top. It's the only one that's like that. So if you just put it on, you can hold the fairing on with that, the outer fairing on, then we can do the side ones first. If you remember, we talked about, we got some short ones, those go at the bottom, and you got a real long one, and that goes up here at the top. Just snug them down with your fingers for now until you get the other side on, because if you have to move the outer fairing to align it to seal it, then you'll want it kind of loose to be able to do that with. So then go do the other side. Okay, so once you get all 4 of those lower bolts on for the outer fairing, just kind of come along and check your seal all the way around. and make sure it's you know, in good shape, it's not come off. You'll see it, and then check the other side as well. Then we can move to the 2 bolts up here, and well, we're going to put the windshield on first, then put those 2 bolts on. Okay, when you tighten these up, be real careful, because there is a little plastic barrel that goes into the outer fairing, and it's just press fit in there. And if you over torque these, it will break loose, and if it breaks the ridge around that barrel on the outer fairing, you got to get a new outer fairing. If you do that, Harley won't cover it with warranty, so you're just out of luck. You're going to end up paying for it. And then we're going to put our windshield on. And again, when you tighten these up, do not over torque them, because Harley will not warranty if you mess up that barrel inside of your fairing. You can, to be honest with you, if you just do it by hand, that's about as tight as you're supposed to get those. I'll put a wrench on it, but if you go much tighter than by hand, you're running the risk of over torquing those bolts. Okay, so that was the process of installing 10-inch Paul Yaffe handlebars, monkey bars on 2015 Street Glide. Hope that helps, and for more stories, riding tips, maintenance tips, and videos, please visit rumblingrider.com.